Hey folks, thank you for tuning in again to Vinyl and Vision for episode number 3. Tonight we're sitting down with my good friend and very talented Steve Mattos, guitarist for his new solo project is Chrome Jackson, and he's also guitarist for Doomsday Student and formerly Arab on Radar. Totally awesome guy. It was a great interview, great time having him down here. Great time having him listen to this record, which I'm putting up on my eBay store page as soon as this video goes live. I'm going to put this up for auction for about 10 days. So as soon as you see this video, you can follow the links in the description to get here, to find this thing, the first US pressing of John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band. So when we sat down and listened to this, we did a lot of talking over the songs, but I'm editing the video out. I'm editing the songs out of the video because of copyright infringements and violations. I'm trying to avoid those. But the audio will have all of it in its entirety. So if you want to hear all of the interviews, because there's a lot of good stuff that was in there that we said over the music. So you can go to the iTunes, Stitcher, and SoundCloud to find that full entire interview and listen to it there. Subscribe, please, there on the audio platforms. You can subscribe here on YouTube, and you can get all the updates of the new episodes as they come, which hopefully we'll be having more very soon. Links to Steve's band, Chrome Jackson, and his record label that Doomsday Student is on, 31G, and the Doomsday Student website will also be linked in the description, so check that out too. Thanks again. So anyone watching won't hear what we say over the music.
Right, yeah.
Except for your songs.
Oh, right, yeah.
Because you're not going to sue me.
Because I won't sue you.
Thank you. I appreciate it. So, cheers, Steve. Thanks for coming.
Good. Oh, hey, thank you. Really a pleasure, actually.
Anytime.
Thank you. Yeah.
Anytime I get to sit and talk to you for any period of time is time well spent.
I agree. It's always really fun.
Put your headphones on.
Oh, yeah, you gotta do that. That would be helpful. Yeah, I think I should know this by now.
Yeah.
All right.
So
Okay.
we're starting the show. So thank you for coming by.
Oh, you're very welcome.
To the podcast, Vinyl and Vision.
Again, cheers.
Cheers, Steve. This is Steve Mattos. Steve Mattos is the extraordinary guitar player for a number of projects, like famously Arab on Radar, your original number for that, and you went on to do Doomsday Student with some of the members of the band,
Right.
Craig
and Eric.
And
Paul Vieira, who were also, were in the Chinese Stars.
Right.
In between that, I did Athletic Automatons with
right.
Pat Crump, drummer.
I was going to say, Pat.
That was like the after Arab on Radar.
Directly after. And it was just the two pieces, you and Pat.
Yep.
You guys put out a few records?
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we did like 2 full lengths, and then we did a couple split records.
Yeah.
We did one with like a split with Made in Mexico, and then we did a split with AIDS Wolf, who was from Montreal.
Yeah.
And we actually did produce a decent amount of stuff for the short time we were together, like 4 years.
Yeah, you guys were going at it.
You
did some touring too with that.
We did. Did like a out to the West Coast tour. Did some Canada dates and some local stuff, and
cool.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah. So and then now you're doing Chrome Jackson.
Yes, and Chrome Jackson started after I was doing Athletic Automaton. So it was sort of like when I had like nothing going on.
Yeah.
I started thinking about just doing my own thing, my own project, and so it became this like thing that I would always have in my pocket if other things were, stuff wasn't going on, but it was still a serious thing. But like it started with the sort of like, it started as a serious thing, but then I thought about it as like, I'll always have this because it's just me,
Right.
So I started doing that in like 2009 or 2008, and I've put out, now this is my second record that I just put out that we'll talk about, and then I put out a record back in 2011 called Chrome Forest.
Right.
And that record, it was just put out on a small label from this guy, Wichita, Kansas, And
What label was that?
it's called Snake Fork
Snake
Records. Yeah.
Okay.
And like a limited pressing, and then Skin Graft, actually the label that did like a lot of that Arab stuff,
Right.
and also the Doomsday, some of the, well, I mean 31G did a lot of the Doomsday stuff, but Skin Graft did like the CD versions,
Oh, okay.
and so Skin Graft did the CD version of the Chrome Forest record,
Oh, okay.
and
I was gonna say because I got your CD, Chrome Forest CD, and I saw that, and I was just like, I didn't remember Skin Graft being involved in this.
yeah, he had like when I put it out, he kind of like asked like, hey, if you want, I'll do a CD version for you.
Oh.
And I was like, okay.
Cool.
It was kind of like his idea. I wasn't initially gonna do it, but he wanted to do it.
Yeah.
He had been doing stuff like that. He did that with Doomsday Student. Like we had put out the vinyl, but then he wanted to be involved and like put out the CD
Yeah.
of it. So
He just wanted his hand in there somewhere. He's just like, these guys are amazing. I wanna
yeah,
be
Mark's
part of this.
a great guy. The
Yeah.
guy that runs that label.
I mean, he's just known you guys forever too, because he kind of started you guys off in Arab on Radar.
Right.
Didn't he put out like your first few records?
Well, he put out the last couple records.
Oh,
The first two records came out on like smaller labels. In fact,
Oh, okay.
the first Arab on Radar record came out on Jeff Tosti's label. From
Which was.
Jeff Tosti was in Laurels and Bossman, and now he does Detroit Rebellion. I don't know if you've seen him.
I haven't
now,
seen
but-
him. I've definitely heard about the name, and I know Jeff Tosti. I mean, I don't know him personally,
Yeah.
but I just know kind of him from being in the city and
Yeah.
being the political figure that he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's been in great bands over the years, and
Yeah.
he was the one who put out our first record. Yeah, it was
Okay.
interesting. He had a label called Heparin Records. And,
Oh, okay. That's what it
and
was.
so we put our first record out on his label, and then second label came out on this label that was out of Boston. This guy, he had the label was called Op Pop Pop.
Okay.
That one, I don't know. It just didn't like.
It doesn't
In
matter.
terms of managing that record and like doing it, like it never really got its like full justice, and like that kind of fell apart with that guy. And
Yeah.
so at that point, like we had already wanted to work with Skin Graft, but it hadn't happened yet. But then we started talking to them and like getting in touch with Weasel Walter,
Mm-hmm.
and that like eventually we had I think one of the guys like Jeff was talking to Mark at Skin Graft, and then we eventually just like got in with them. Well, I should say that we recorded our second record with Weasel Walter. So there was that, like he did the recording of that record, and then that helped us get
The full length was that.
full length. Yeah,
So
it was
the
called Rough Day at the Orifice.
Rough Day at the Orifice. Okay.
Yeah. So all of that
That's a good
started.
title.
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys are stellar on the title names. Trust me.
Thank you. We love the puns, you know.
Yeah. Oh no, you're good for 'em. It's just classic.
Yeah, so basically those last two records came out as Skin Graft, the ones that I think are more well known to people, Soak the Saddle and Yahweh or the Highway.
Yeah.
And actually our very last release, which was just a CD release, it was called The Stolen Singles.
Oh yeah.
That came out on 31G,
Okay.
who also did a reissue of the first two records on a CD. So we had like a double, like a what do you call it, like a 2-record CD
Okay.
of the first two records, because it had gone out of
Oh,
print.
that's right. I remember seeing that. I think I maybe even bought a copy of that.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was like a way to salvage those two records. The first two were like, limited pressing, screen printed, all hand, printed by Matt Brinkman and Brian Chippendale, and did all the artwork and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And then once they went out of print, because both of those labels were small labels, and like Jeff wasn't doing too much with label stuff.
Yeah.
After that, so then we wanted those records back in print, and it was good that 31G was like, I'll do the CD of it, so to get it back in.
Cool.
Yeah. So that's the history of our recording.
Nice, man.
Label history for Arab on Radar.
Right. Yeah, and labels. It seems like they're harder and harder to kind of work with these days, especially on an independent level. because the route you took for the new record, Chrome Jackson's Invertebrate Waltz. Did I say that right? Invertebrate, right?
Yeah, it was
Invertebrate Waltz,
invertebrate or invertebrate. Yeah,
You
so
get
that's what I was
come
like.
from.
The
Yeah.
weird word, yeah.
Tomato. You decided to do this one on your own.
Yeah, you know, I contemplated like talking to some of the labels, because like, you know, Skin Graft could have been someone I could have talked to him about it. Also through NG, I could have talked to Justin, because he had been doing the Doomsday Student records.
Right.
But I was a little hesitant because I didn't know how much I was going to be doing with Chrome Jackson in terms of like, you know, when you put a record on a label, then there's this sort of like, well, what are you going to do for me? You know, once you
because you got to push the record, right?
push the record.
They wanna see that the record's selling, and so you have to do your promotion, go on tour, and
exactly
do interviews, whatever.
Exactly, and so when I was doing this project, I just didn't want to sort of like have that over my head, because I didn't really know what extent. I mean, not that I won't be doing things, but I wasn't sure like what I want to do. So I didn't even want to bother, because if I went down that route, there might be that issue. So I decided to just totally bypass it and look into the Kickstarter.
Yeah,
route.
self-funding, right?
Yeah, yeah. And then all of it is like, you know, I figured that it was self-funded, you know, it's a nice way to to get the record, you know, right away. Like their pledge is like getting them a copy of the record, and
yeah, it's kind of like being invested in the business. It's kind of like being a shareholder.
Right.
Yeah, I'm gonna give you this money, and then what I'm gonna get out of it is basically I'm gonna get a copy of your record from you directly.
Yeah.
Which is very cool. I mean, especially considering it's a tough gamble, right? Because you put it up there, and we'll get into it a little bit in more depth as far as like how that works, because I'm kind of curious.
Yeah.
But you know, you're basically putting it out there and just like reaching out to your sphere of influence, your followers, your friends, your fans, and just telling them like, I want to do this. I already have this. Like, I want to put this record out.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to hear this record, I'm asking you to please contribute, and then to help you pay for it to make it happen.
Yeah.
If you can't put any money towards it, you can't contribute, then I can't do it.
Then it just doesn't get done.
Right.
And so then it's also kind of a nice like it makes you feel good knowing that if it does get funded, that means people did care about it. You know,
Yeah.
They're like, all right, it actually this is something you want to hear.
Right. Yeah.
So like so that was, it's like a nice little like, I mean, I guess it's a little bit of a gamble. You're like, whoa, are they gonna want to fund this or not? And I will say that it was a little scary for a little bit, because it was coming down to the wire, and like I was like, I'm not sure if it's gonna get funded. And then
it was a little far. It was like what, 50% or something, like.
Yeah, and it was like, and then the last couple of days, which I mean, I've heard from a lot of people that it's like most of those projects do get funded. Yeah. But I still was like, maybe mine's not gonna be the one.
Right.
But then it really worked out. So that was awesome.
It's nerve-wracking to be on that end of it.
I will say that was a little nerve-wracking, because I'd never done one of those before. So it was definitely a little nerve-wracking.
That's great though. So so you got your funding, you got fully funded, and a little additional too, I think, on top of that.
Yep.
And so you have to kick back a little money to the organization if you get to 100%, right?
Yep.
So I mean, that's how they make their money. That's how they survive, and they keep that going.
Yep.
So whatever, it's part of your business, you know.
Yeah, it's like 5 to 10%. I think it's like around 8% or something that they take. I can't remember what it was, but you know, but it wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
You know.
But you got the funding, and you pressed it. You pressed your button.
Yeah, and I did it.
That's great.
Thanks.
Congratulations. I got my copy. I contributed.
I know, you were one of my contributors. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. So here it is. Here's the vinyl that you got pressed.
And so
this is your baby right here.
It is, and that's my wife Alicia Renadette did the artwork.
Yes, she did.
So she, I was really excited about it, and excited for her to do it, and she's an amazing artist, and I was so psyched that she did it. She's the best.
Yeah, I would say. I mean, I love the art. I was actually very tempted to do the contributing, to contribute where we would get the original artwork.
Oh yeah.
I was very tempted, but it was a lot of money for us, as far as I was concerned.
Sure.
At the time. I may have done it, but
Yeah, sure.
but you did get it sold. Somebody did contribute. And
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it's like, I don't think he would mind if I said it, but Jay Ryan from Six Finger Satellite is
he
the
did
one
it?
who did it.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
It was really nice of him. It was awesome. So
That's
it was
great.
really cool. So he's now got the front cover of
The original
collage.
artwork.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Was this huge? Like, how did she do this?
It was well, it was a collage. She did it on I'm actually forgetting what it was, like 20 by 20 sort of paper that she I mean, I can't explain her process, but it was a lot of you know, it was a collage type so she did drawings and she sort of did scans and drawings and sort of put this together. Some of it was there's like a secret little weird blind contour drawing that she did of me that's embedded within this. You would never know that it was me because it's basically like an abstract. So but she had done a blind contour drawing, which, you know, when you draw, but you're just looking at the subject, but you don't actually
look at what you're doing. Yeah.
So she had done that, and that became part of part of embedded in that drawing is I'm in there somewhere.
Yeah. Wow,
But again, you would never know because it's very abstracted.
Yeah, and plus it's just kind of like layered over with all of this other color
All the
and
other
shapes
yeah.
and movement and stuff that's going on. I mean, it looks great, and
Oh,
unfortunately I don't see your beautiful face in here, but it's really cool to know the process and that your wife did it and that you finally got it pressed. You know, of all, you know.
Well, thanks very much.
All in all, it's like you got it done and it's in our hands, and that's the most important part.
It was fun to do that because I hadn't done a project like that, like seeing it through to the beginning, through the end, and doing the process. And I have to say that it was kind of like fun to be like, I'm gonna do the pressing. I mean, like not me personally, but like doing the layout. I did the layout of the record. I didn't do the design, but I did the layout, and you know, all that stuff. Sent it to the pressing plant. It felt good to just like do something like that and see it through like start to finish. I mean,
with all of your record experience and kind of as many records as you've been part of putting out, it's like this is the first one that you were actually part of the whole process.
Yeah, there was something fun about sort of like seeing how the sausage is made, you know?
Yeah, right.
I mean, I know how that is making music, but like doing all the other stuff was kind of fun too, to see like how it all works on that end.
Maybe not as fun, but it's also kind of just kind of crazy to know and to kind of see what goes into it exactly, you know, because being a band member, you're like, okay, well, we recorded it. It's up to you now to get that thing out.
Yeah, because we would have artists, you know, I mean, obviously, again, like my wife did the artwork, but it's like, whoever's going to do the art, basically, either they did the layout to put it to press, or someone else did it, like the record label would take the artwork and do the layout and all that stuff. And so it's interesting, it's kind of out of your hands, like, once you...
Even as far as the pressing of the record is concerned, like kind of where it goes as far as the like mastering and the actual pressing of the vinyl and the packaging, all that stuff, like it doesn't sound that fun, but you know, when you're doing it and it's your baby, then obviously it's a little different and it's a little more gratifying. Yeah,
totally.
But so you even did all the recording of this?
Yeah, I did all the recording. No, the mastering was done by our friend Daryl. So who has worked with Doomsday Student on the last 2 records and did a great job.
He's been like your engineer of choice, huh?
He has been, lately.
He's great. He's got a great ear.
He does, like definitely. Yeah, I mean, we had Machines do the first Doomsday record, and then, you know, we had talked to, like, Paul was like, you know, we should, I've been talking to Daryl and he does recordings, and he was like, you know, like he really wants to do a record, so then we decided to like do our second record with him. We really liked how it was, and we really liked obviously Machines. They're great.
Right.
But we wanted to just like try something else, you know. And then but Daryl was great, and so I knew when the mastering came around for this record, for this project, I was like, I don't know how to do mastering. That's something that I was like, I just don't understand the science of it.
This is the one thing I got to give up.
I
gotta give this to somebody that knows what they're doing.
Exactly. I didn't feel confident about that. I wanted to make sure, because that's so important.
Right.
For the
especially if you're gonna put this on vinyl. I mean, it'd be one thing if you were just doing like digital downloads or CD copy or something. But you know, when you're getting down to vinyl, it's just like you really want to make sure that it's got the best quality that you're gonna get.
Absolutely.
So that's really cool. I mean, and Daryl's great. I was really happy to see that he was part of it, and
Yeah.
So you know, if you're recording this yourself, so what, you did it at home? What do you record on?
I mean, it's funny because it was really simple. Like I have a so like my setup, I know that some people don't know like the project, but it's just me. So I depend on loops like on my guitar, and so it's all guitar stuff, and so it's all loops, and I basically just have this like in the basement. It's like not even really well soundproofed or anything, but it's just like I just have a couple like soundproof walls that Alicia helped me build.
Yeah.
That they basically did the building, and just set that up in a corner. And I haven't really had too much worries about sound, like noise.
Yeah.
So when I was doing the recording, basically what I did is I have like a twin amp, and then I have my pedals set up and my guitar, and I just basically recorded all of the loops separately.
Okay.
So if I play this live, obviously I have all the loop stuff in the pedal, but when I did the recording, I just recorded everything separate so that it would be,
better quality.
Better quality.
Better sound control of it too when it comes to like mixing and mastering.
Yeah, because the last record I did was a mishmash of recording. The Chrome Forest record, that was a mix of various different recordings from like a couple of years, and that record is almost like a compilation of like stuff. And some of those were done really raw, and then a couple of them, I used one of the tracks from doing a BSR live show.
Oh, okay.
So it was like, and when I did, and some of the stuff I did myself, I didn't really do multi-tracking. So some of it was like I really squeezed it out from just like one track. So it's like really raw, but I like that it's raw.
Yeah.
But I wanted to make sure that it sounded good and you got the intricacies, so I wanted to do it a little bit more professional.
I think you can hear that on this,
Yeah.
Like I gave this a good listen, and I own your first record too. So comparing the two, I'm like, I can absolutely hear what you're talking about, because the first record is definitely like, for anyone that's familiar with your sound, because your sound is very particular to you, and every project that you're part of is just like you come through very clearly, and that, I mean that in a good way, but it's just like, so that first record is very raw, like you said.
Yeah.
And it's really harsh, it's really brash, because you have a lot of that high end and that trebly tone in your guitars. And this one is cool because I can definitely see where you kind of like really got it more thought out. First of all, you got a drum machine on this a lot.
Yeah.
You got a lot more tracks with drum machines.
The other record, there's no drums at all.
Yeah.
So that was a fun aspect.
Which is the loop that you're using as the tempo kind of, right? But yeah, so that was cool. That it has that feel to it, which I've never been a big fan of drum machines personally, but I mean, some people can use them really well, and you use it really well on this record.
Well, thanks.
And just like the different aspects, like there are some like little interludes where you do a little acoustic guitar work too. So that's cool because I've never even heard you play an acoustic guitar.
Oh, right.
Minus like in a house like by yourself, when we were living on Wood Street or something. Yeah. But never like in an actual performance or writing something on it,
And actually, it's a baglama, which is a Turkish stringed instrument.
Okay.
It's sort of like, I mean, I'm not an expert on the baglama, but I've always loved the sound of Middle Eastern stringed instruments, and so I've been wanting to buy like an oud or like a, belzuki or any of those, but like the baglama was one that I'd been listening to like a lot of like Turkish like psych rock and all these different things, and and you always hear the word baglama, and it's a very like a friend of mine was talking about the name of the other day, and I wish I remember what he said, but he had a good name for like the sound. It's just a really like, I mean, you can hear it on I think on the record, but it's a like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 string guitar, has a very thin long neck, and it has a body almost like a gourd, like almost like a sitar body.
Yeah.
And you play it with this little thin pick they call a plectrum, and it's like soft pick, and it's just
Yeah.
a very like crisp, atonal instrument.
Yeah, it's
You
got
know?
a very twang to it, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of almost like a bouzouki or something, right? Like some
Right.
kind of like Japanese like.
Oh yeah, I mean I feel like it sounds very similar to like like the strings like a Japanese instruments or like, you know, and again like other also Middle Eastern too. I mean there's like, you know, there's always like, you know, similarities across through music where you can hear like certain things.
Right.
So that's what I used on that. So that was fun.
Oh, okay.
And it's because it's something I got obsessed with, and I wanted to incorporate it on the record.
Cool, man. Yeah. Well, it was great. I mean, it's a very good record overall. I mean,
Oh, thank you.
Like I said, compared to the first record, like this has just got much more depth to it, and that's what I like about it, because it's not just like, you know, that onslaught of just like fucking that just sonic thunder coming through you.
Shit Show, which is actually the name of one of my songs on that record, so that was like partly why I call it that.
Right. Yeah, no,
Yeah,
so this has got a very different feel to it, and it's very cool, and I hope that everyone that contributed to your Kickstarter that got a copy of this, I hope that they're loving it, because
thank
I
you.
am.
Yeah.
I think it's great.
Oh, thanks so much. Thanks so
Different
much.
from the other stuff too, you know, different from the other bands, different from Marathon Radar and Doomsday Student.
Yeah.
So do you still freak out when you play this? Because I haven't seen this show yet.
Well,
you
you know,
do the whole chrome look. You
right,
look very
right, and
metallic.
I have a harder time freaking out because I've got to be like contained with the sounds.
When it's all you, man. It's all
It's
eyes
all
on
me.
you.
Yeah, there's like no one else to sort of like fall back on, you know.
Right.
And so literally, you know, like, but yeah, it hasn't been quite the same kind of like performance. So like, you know, it's definitely a little bit more like listening.
Yeah.
You know, watching me. I mean, I guess the silver suit will be the visual.
Yeah.
But yeah, over the years, like I've done a few shows. Like I haven't played a ton with it, but like over the years, it's always been, like I'm more self-contained with the project.
Because you have to be. When you're wearing that many hats, like in one performance, it's like you kind of you kind of have to like.
You have to.
It might take a little bit of that joy out of it, because especially with what you do and how you do it. The freaking out thing, I can imagine how like it's just like, no, I gotta like, it takes away from that, like that freedom to just freak out and just do whatever it is that you're gonna do.
Yeah, it's like From Jackson sort of had to make me like a little more like a caged animal, I guess, or tame, because I have to like, I have to stick by what I'm doing. I have to stick close to like, close to the gear.
Right.
But
So do you want to spin a couple of tracks off this record so that people can hear it?
Sure.
What would you recommend as maybe the first track?
Well, how about we listen to Invertebrate Waltz, the title track?
Okay.
That might be a good one
Track
to start
2?
with. Track 2, yeah. You know, so this record has 5 songs, but it's like 30 minutes long. So like, the couple tracks are really long.
Oh, okay.
Like Swamp Thing Shuffle, which I really like the first track. That's like 8 minutes, so I don't know if we wanted to listen to that. I thought that Invertebrate Waltz is a good, like a shorter one.
Happy medium there.
So it's like,
Okay.
And I like that one. That's the one that I was promoting for a while when it came out. But I think that's a good place to start.
Yeah, if I can get it to line up right.
Oh yeah, that's always the thing.
It's always a little tougher when I'm in this seat trying to put the tracks on.
Yeah, I have like my I should do it. My turntable at home that has that little push
There's a little bit of that.
button. There's a light.
Yeah, that's a good spot.
There you go.
So that's a little bit of that instrument you're talking about right there, right?
Yeah, that's the baglava.
Cool.
It's I really love the sound of it. It's good, just really, I don't know,
It adds a weird texture, like a different texture, especially considering, you know, like what most people would know you for, and that particular sound I was talking about. Like that.
Right.
That sound is just like, that's what you're known for, for doing. So to hear that kind of, just intertwined in these songs is just like really kind of nice. It just breaks it up a little bit. And then you got some drum machine too, so it's like, okay, now you actually got a beat.
I have a beat, yeah, exactly. And something a little bit more instead of like a bass down. Yeah, I think that was the first time I ever recorded an acoustic instrument on like a record.
Really? Right here from this one?
I think so. Cool. I think about it now. Like I acoustic. Yeah, from like a pressed record.
Right.
That actually released. That's cool. So the Bog Llama like interludes, they're like I have all these little pieces in between each song, like I was saying, and then the very last track, which is all Bog Llama, it has a lot of those elements, but then they all come together in that last track. So they're like, it's not something that maybe everyone will notice right away, but like each like interlude is a part of like what I need for that last track called Untitled Chapter. Oh, okay. So that's basically about like five or six tracks that you can overdub. Yeah, like various sort of Bog Llama interludes. Yeah, like together in like a 3-minute song. Cool. So it's sort of like each track has that interlude leading up to this last one that kind of combines all of those pieces together.
It's the culmination of a record like that, huh?
Yeah, I just wanted to do something. I mean, it's not that it had like a theme, but it was just like a fun thing that other people have done on the
Yeah.
Some little like element that ties it all together at another point,
It's very thematic.
Yeah, it has like some, yeah, exactly.
Yeah, man. I can understand that. I mean, and it works really well. So.
Oh, thank you.
And like I said, it's just a different kind of branching out for you, which I think is great. Because I know that you're like a very great musician, and I know that you're very eclectic. You have a very extensive background in music as far as what you listen to, what you're influenced by. So it should really make sense that when you're making music, it should be like that, right? It should have all these different aspects of it.
Yeah.
And so it's good. So I mean, this is probably one of the first records I've heard you do that is like that, where it just like has a different feel per song almost. Like when you're thinking about like the Arab Radar catalog, it's like okay, it's great. Like I love all of that stuff, but it kind of is all in the same realm.
Yeah.
You got the two dueling guitars, which are both like you got the Jack's beam and then you the ESG. And I don't remember what you said. It was like you played like what 10 tweeters? What was that before you had?
Yeah, it's like a tweeter. It's a tweeter array, like a PV tweeter array. So it was a part of a PA system at one time. And yeah, it has like 12 tweeters in there.
Yeah.
And it's like this, that's one cabinet. Yeah, which is I have it like tethered, through the amp and with the cabinet. So it's like it has that treble, extra treble. Now I don't use that on this record.
No, I wouldn't.
Because this is actually all played on a twin, Fender Twin.
Yeah.
Reverb.
Well, like a single 12 or 10 inch?
No, it's a 212.
212.
It's like the silver faced twin.
Oh, okay.
Which is like a mid-70s amp.
All right.
Because they had like their black face, silver face.
Right.
And the silver face is where they started to get into like the 70s.
Okay.
But
cool.
yeah, it's an amp I've had a long time. I like it.
Yeah. It does the job real well. I mean.
No, thanks. Yeah, it's funny, in Doomsday Student, like I always played Paul's amp, which is like, he has this amazing JMP Marshall head, and then he was using my twin for a while. So we were like using each other's amps.
Really?
But it worked for our sounds.
Yeah.
Because like, he's got the Travis beam and he's got the aluminum neck stuff, and somehow like, I don't know, for his sound it was working really well, and then I was using his JMP, and it was just like,
yeah, I remember overhearing him talking amps.
Yeah, he's a great person to talk amps about.
Yeah, if you want to go crazy. I mean.
Yes, he will go in Paul style. He'll go into details far
Yeah.
beyond anyone
I'm just
else knows.
It turns on, right? It plays the sound. Okay, that's great. I'll do that. But no, he's very crazy.
He's
tone and all that
yeah.
stuff.
Oh, yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
He's like on next level with tone in terms of like always trying to hone in on it, find his thing and like
he thinks about that. He's just like, I'm
Yep.
looking for this sound.
Yep.
I want to like capture this essence.
Yeah.
Like how am I gonna do that? Like which amp should I
Absolutely.
get? And he's like usually already down to like 2. Like narrowed it down, to like I think it's either this one or this one. Like which one do you think we're gonna get that one better?
Yeah.
And like I don't know how to answer that. Daryl has a better sense of that stuff too. He's just like, oh yeah, I think you might be better off with this for whatever reason, and like it's
Paul,
got this and this.
yeah. I've learned a lot from him about this stuff because he knows so much. There's like things that I wasn't even, as much as I've been doing this, like he's, it's great because he like really,
he's a great resource. He's just a well of knowledge.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Paul's awesome.
He sure is, man. It was nice to see that him get involved with your band.
Oh, he's fantastic. He's an amazing musician.
Yeah.
And the nicest guy.
True. Yeah.
And so he and he's Paul.
Right.
There's no one like him.
So what track do you want to get into next? I just flipped the record to the second side, so.
I think that I think another good one that's it's not a long one. I would say that with Invertebrate Waltz and I think maybe the next one I was thinking would be that incident with the wasp's nest.
Okay.
It's another one that's like more straightforward.
Yeah.
Whereas like some of the other ones they get more into the sort of the real sort of like webbed layers sounds that I've been usually doing in the past stuff.
Okay.
But I think it's another good sort of like sampler track to another good track to listen to, I think.
Yeah. All right.
I mean, if you want to dabble with parts of the other ones, we could do that too. But
all right.
I'm happy to do this
Sure.
as well. So
Well, let's play the first track off the second side.
you got it. That's called That Incident with the Wasp's Nest.
It's a little tough with the left hand, man.
Oh yeah, I can help you on this thing.
All right.
I shouldn't be just sitting here watching you struggle.
No, man, that's all right. You're my guest. Let me do all the struggling. You just lay back.
just gonna chill out over here.
Yeah,
I'm just
man.
gonna fall asleep. Yeah, it was fun to work with drums. I mean, this is just like, just drum machine beats that are on the pedals.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, so it's literally just like a couple of like thuds or something, like a kick drum or a snare or something.
Yeah, totally.
That's awesome.
But it's really but it was fun to have that, to sort of like work with. Like we were talking about, like I hadn't done that. I mean, obviously I've done that in the band, right? But it happened like with Chrome Jackson. Yeah, it was fun to like incorporate drum stuff into it.
Yeah. And finally, maybe it's like for your first record, this is the time that you're actually finally doing that.
Yes, exactly.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was definitely like, as soon as I put this on, I was just like, oh yeah, this is like a world away from chords.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
So anyone that likes the first record, I would say, you should definitely pick this up. Because hey, you're growing and you're developing.
That's it.
Like most people do.
That's
and
it. Yeah.
This is a new
Growing up.
chapter.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the fun part about it, That's the fun part of making music and continuing to do it is to constantly evolve. It's like what makes it fun. To me. Instead of always doing the same thing. I thoroughly enjoy challenging things. It's like one place I feel like I mean, yeah. I mean, in some ways, I love what Neil Young's all about because he perfectly sort of like melts those worlds.
Yeah.
He's like so heart-wrenchingly beautiful with music, and then at the same time, he's got that dirty,
Right.
you know, he's got the like dirty, crazy wordplay and sound.
Right.
You know, that like was,
Yeah, he can get out there. He can go push the limit on his instrument and the band as well. Being like, and I don't even know that record, but I know that he's got a really controversial one. Was it called like Trans Am or something?
oh, Trans Am is amazing.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like 80s, like
80s,
synth.
right? Yeah. That's,
Yeah, it's like a big fuck you to like the whole record label thing that he was going through, I guess, right? Like, so
Yeah.
he was just like embraced the 80s synth world and was just like, oh, fuck you, I want to try this, like, I want to write this music. And
I feel like Neil Young is such a great inspiration in my opinion because he really has just done what he wanted to do, and for the most part, he's like succeeded. Some of the ones he's records he's done have been a little weird, but I feel like all through, for the most part, like
Right.
he's such a like inspiration. Like he's put out really great music for so long, and continues to sort of keep pushing. And like Trans Am was, it's such an interesting take on like a synthy thing because it still feels like Neil Young, but also like
It's like
you know,
Neil
like
Young with
spaceship,
synth, yeah.
like fucking Neil Young, you know, like, and you know, I think before that record, he like toured with Devo too, like he did a tour with Devo, and like, yeah, like in the set, like, I don't think of what record it was. I mean, it may have been like '79, but he like, which is amazing to think of like him touring with Devo.
I did see that video. I think Matt Trapp like posted a video about Neil Young with Devo like in a studio doing. I think it was Keep on Rockin' on the Freeway. I think.
Oh wow.
I can't remember. It was one of his classic songs. I think it was that song.
Oh yeah.
Fucking wild. Those guys were freaking out, and it was just like Neil Young with Devo.
Yeah.
Devo's the backing band, and they're doing their thing the way they do it, and he's just doing the way he does it, and they're just working off each other.
I mean, just the fact that him and Devo like were like in the same room and like knew each other and did shit. That is like so cool to me.
Yeah.
Just this idea that like he was even interested in them. Like it's always cool when you find out like certain artists are like into cool, like you like what they do, but you're not sure that maybe they like. I don't know how to explain it, but like you know, it's always like cool when you find out certain people like certain music that you wouldn't think they liked.
Right.
You know, the fact that Neil Young was like a fan of Devo, it's like just really cool.
Yeah.
It's like finding out Bruce Springsteen was like into suicide. You know, like it was actually
Was
like
he in Suicide?
yeah.
Oh,
Well, he
that's
wasn't
awesome.
in suicide.
No,
but
he
was
liked
into
it. He liked that
Yeah,
band. Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Yeah.
In
Well,
fact,
you know, we shouldn't be surprised.
I know,
You
right?
know, it
It's
shouldn't
because
be
you're
because we're musicians and we're like, well, I like a bunch of different music. Why shouldn't
Yeah.
they? Just because, you know, Bruce Springsteen writes like a bunch of like folk songs for the most part and like kind of pop rock music now.
right.
But yeah, I'm sure he's got this. Like, I think I touched on it with Dan the other time. It's just like the music that gives you the feels.
Yeah, exactly.
You know? And it's just like sometimes some music just gives you a certain feel, and sometimes you want to get in that vibe. You know.
Yep. That's exactly it, because I feel like it's just, it doesn't matter what you're playing as long as it, yeah, because Dan's a great example. I just feel like he's like, you know, it's all about just making music and feeling music. Like, it doesn't matter if it's like noisy or if it's folky, as long as it grabs you,
Right.
you know?
Yeah.
Like, what, like, that's why we all love Hank Williams and all these other people that have like transcended everyone likes Hank Williams from, you know,
Right.
he's just good, you know?
Right.
It's just like there's just things that are good.
Yeah. A master
And,
at
like,
their craft is just a master at their craft. It's just you can't not admire it.
Right,
You know.
exactly.
So.
And that's why it's cool to know that, and like you said, you shouldn't be surprised when you find out certain people like, you know, it's always funny too, because like Thurston Moore, you know, he's been on so many like documentaries for like various people, everything from like noise music to like folk, and so, you know, he's a guy, you can tell he's a music fan.
Right.
It's like the same kind of thing. He likes everything from the Carpenters to, you know, fucking Teenage Jesus and the Jerks and shit like that.
Yeah.
It's like, so he's just a music fan.
Yeah.
And it's like a
Right.
good music fan. You know, we can all say, "Oh, I like music," but it's like
Good music, it's all in the eye of the beholder, you know, because
it is, and it's like
but he's just eclectic. Just that he's
Yeah.
willing to open himself up to a whole world of different types of music, which
Yeah.
is kind of where we are. Like,
absolutely
I mean, there's some stuff I don't like. I'm sure that maybe you do, but
right. No,
you know, it's just how it grabs you.
that's a really good point too, because I feel like there's like a point. I don't know if it was in your life, but there was a time where I feel like you might have felt a little judgy about someone liking something, as if any of us were so like beyond ever liking something that
Yeah.
wasn't cool or whatever. But then I always think to myself, like, if someone likes something and it makes them happy, like, who gives a shit? Like,
My wife is the perfect example. I married a woman whose Beatles to her is Fleetwood Mac,
oh right, yep.
and
Mhm.
I can't stand them.
Oh okay. See, that's where we might have a difference. I do
don't-
like them.
Well,
but-
I've learned to appreciate it a lot.
Yeah,
a lot
yeah.
more than I ever did.
Oh sure.
Because
Right
if
now
that
you're
shit
around
came
it.
on, if that shit came on in the past, I'd just be like, nope, just shut it off.
Yeah.
No, I'm not doing it. I'm not opening my mind to Fleetwood Mac. I don't give a fuck. But because of her influence, because of her love for them, and her, I've listened to it more, and I've kind of learned to appreciate it more, and I can now tolerate it. I'm still not a massive fan. I'm still not huge on it, but
Yeah.
like it's just one of those things, you know.
Yeah.
You just can't. You can't argue with it. So some things, reach you, some things don't.
And you don't want to deny someone that if they love something. Like to me, it's all about like I can't think like when I think about people who don't have any sort of interest in anything. Like, oh, I don't like music, or I don't like art, or I don't like. How could you
Yeah.
be alive? Like,
Because they like sports, or they
Right.
like.
or it's like it's on the
Something.
radio, I'll listen to it. Like,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
like I hate that. It's like just have even if you love like terrible music, but you really like somehow I would like give you something if you actually like could really break down for me like I love New Country and I'm gonna tell you why.
Yeah.
I'd be more appreciative of that than just saying that you just like don't like music or you hate this for no
Yeah.
reason or whatever. It's like I love when people can like sort of tell you why they're really passionate about it. It's like
Well, some people
important.
just don't have it. Some people don't have that understanding of what passion is. Like
Well, yeah.
they're stuck in these ideologies of like, well, I listen to what's on the radio because it's easy, it's there,
Right,
and there's so
exactly.
much of it on the radio, but it's actually all in repeat.
yeah,
It's all the same fucking 20 songs over
it's
the course
all
of
the
the
same.
year.
Yeah.
So I mean, the difference between us and them is that we go out and look for stuff
Yes,
because
yeah.
we go down.
Because the
those rabbit
DJs aren't
holes.
doing it.
No, not anymore. They used to.
No, right? They used to do
But
that.
now you go down that rabbit hole of just like, hey, I like this band. I like what they're doing. I like those artists.
Yeah.
And now I listen to their interviews saying like, oh, hey, when we got started, we were listening to like
Yep.
B.B. King and all these other blues players from back in the day. Screaming Jay Hawkins and
Mhm.
shit like that. And you're like, Screaming Jay Hawkins, shit, I gotta go
Right.
find out about that. And then you go look
Exactly.
into that. And you find out who those guys were influenced by or how they got started playing music, that's pretty much the end of the line as far as rock music is concerned. But
Yeah.
it's just like that whole thing. I remember like hearing Led Zeppelin and like hearing those guys, and they were like, "Oh, we listen to all the blues music, man. We go listen to those guys from America," and that's where it was at, And
Absolutely.
that's how you learn. That's how you learn.
That to me like is the most fun thing about music was doing that research. Because it is research. It's like, oh, here we go. Yeah.
Yeah, research, man.
Research.
Get into it.
Exactly. It's like knowing that, like wanting to sort of find out, like, oh, the cover of like, oh, Hendrix did All Alone Watchtower. Oh shit, that's a Bob Dylan song.
Right.
I want to hear the original or whatever. It's like,
Right.
I loved doing that. I loved like
Yeah.
sort of taking the steps back and sort of finding out.
Right.
And, like it's like it's so fun.
And it's so much easier these days, because now we
Yes.
all have the internet and we have YouTube and we have all the streaming services. You got your Spotify or your fucking Pandora or whatever.
Yep.
And you can find shit so easily,
Oh yeah.
just to listen to it. Like, granted, buying a record or finding something is a little bit more trickier just because you have to God knows where you can search. You can search your local record store. You can search online like I do. You can get whatever. You could fucking look at Amazon. I don't care what you do, but you can buy whatever you want, or just download it directly, and it's just so accessible.
Exactly. It's funny because it's like it's such a catch-22 because I loved, and I mean I still do go to record stores obviously and searching through, but you know, I actually remember you talking to Dan on the last episode about this, about how you'd have to like, you know, really like try to find something.
Yeah.
Or I think you guys were talking about that, unless this is a conversation I was
Well,
having
we
with
were
a friend.
doing, you know, we
But
talked
there
about
was-
like crate digging, like
Crate
back in the
digging,
day.
exactly. And it's like funny because that was such like, that was like a quest, like at a record store list, trying to find these certain records. Like, I gotta find that Chrome record, I gotta find, and it would be like you couldn't get it, like, oh, some guy got it up in the store in Boston. But it's like, it's a catch-22 because there was something fun about the chase.
Yeah.
But at the same time now, it's like, it's
I don't
not
have
hard
time
to
for that.
find those. You
Oh,
can
right.
find those records now.
Yeah. But now you're
It's
gonna
like-
pay through the nose for it.
Yeah, well, exactly. They're so much more
They're
expensive.
so harder
It's
to
crazy.
find. You know, it's so much harder to find now that
So
you can find it, but it's just gonna be like a big price tag these days.
It's crazy. It's like you can't like. It's amazing now, like to buy a record. It's like you're not gonna get one under for like $120. And I've been guilty. I've spent money on new records like that, you know,
Yeah.
as well as finding used things. But sometimes I'm like, shit, they just repressed this record. I'm gonna buy it because they put it out on like 180 gram vinyl or something.
Yeah.
I want it. Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
But-
Would you consider yourself an audiophile, Steve?
I think I am. I think I am.
You really appreciate the good quality sound
Well-
from the recording?
Oh, well, I guess so. When you were saying audiophile, I thought you meant just more as someone who's obsessed with, like, you know, just buying music or into music. I don't know if I don't know. I actually don't think that I am that level
Yeah.
because it doesn't have to be.
Doesn't have to be perfect every time.
No.
Doesn't have to be on vinyl. Doesn't have to be 180 gram.
No, but I will say that I do love the idea of, like, getting a record that was recorded analog and wanting it to be the analog version that I listen to as opposed to a CD. But
Okay.
I've never been a total purist in that way, but I am very into vinyl. So
Yeah.
without a doubt, like, just because of growing up with it. But I wouldn't say that I was someone who was obsessed with finding, like, you know, I just haven't done enough research to be like, oh, which copy. I love that you're like finding first pressings and all that stuff. It's amazing.
Yeah, I've just been really lucky, dude, because
Yes.
it's hard to come across these, you know, and sometimes I just go on my gut with like, oh, I know that record, I know it's awesome.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'll pick it up just because I know what it is and who it is, you know, and I know that there is definitely a desirability to it.
Yeah.
But and then I get it home, you know, I finally get it from wherever, and you know, then I start researching it, and I start finding out more about the record itself, and I'm like, oh shit, this is like a first pressing from the U.S. or from the U.K. or from whatever, you know, because that's the other weird thing is like all these variants.
Oh
on
yeah.
records.
Oh god.
Because especially, you know, massive artists and bands like this is John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band first pressing in the U.S. This is pressed all
This
over
is
the
a
world.
first pressing, huh?
This is the first.
I'm actually not sure because I have this record and I have an older copy, but I don't know if it's a first pressing or not. I actually need to look because I'm not sure if it's a first pressing. When I bought it, I don't remember where I got it from, but I didn't spend like an arm and a leg on it though.
Yeah.
But it does have the insert with the lyrics.
Yep.
But I don't know if it's a first pressing or not. And so now I'm gonna have to look. So what label was it pressed on for originally? What's the label?
Well, this is Apple.
Oh, it is Apple. Yeah.
This
so
is an Apple
and it's a
pressing.
first pressing from Apple.
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna have to see if my copy is a first pressing. You got me wondering now. Because I wasn't like looking at. So speaking of audiophile, it's not like I was looking for that.
Right.
You know, when I'd buy a record, I'd be like, oh my god, that's the Plastic Ono Band record. I want to get that. I've been wanting that.
Right.
But I wasn't like, oh, that's a first pressing. I just. And as I've said to you before, speaking of this record, you know that there's the Yoko Ono
The version. Yeah, her version.
And so like on the back, it's got her as a little kid.
Yeah, her baby picture.
Yeah, and that record is like I was telling you, it's kind of. I think other people would agree with this. It's almost like the first no wave album. I mean, it is like noisy and weird, and like it's extreme, you know, with Yoko's voice and like the stuff that she does, and then John Lennon's guitar is like really like scratchy and like I mean again when we're gonna talk about this record, like John Lennon's guitar sound on this record is amazing too. Oh my god, I don't like.
That's all right. Yeah, it's a little delicate, but it's fine.
Yep.
You know how to handle one.
Oh yeah, I always touch it from the outside. This is beautiful. Yeah. This is very nice.
It's got one streak along the second side, but it's just it's superficial. It's not a scratch. It's just
I see that. Yep, totally. Yeah, it's like one of those light scratch. It's like a You know, and I'm sure that like some of these things happen from literally taking it out of the sleeve too, or like off the. But yeah, this is really nice.
Yeah, you know, sometimes because these paper sleeves, they get some dirt in them sometimes, and just like pulling it out.
It's like scratch on.
You just hear it.
Yep, definitely.
So it's a pain. It's a pain with the vinyl. I mean, that's the downside of vinyl, really.
Yep.
Is just that the frailty of it, you know, and that's a problem. I mean, CDs too, because you know, CDs, as soon as you scratch the bottom of a CD, fuck it, it's virtually useless. But
well, it's just hilarious how like back in the day they were like, CDs are gonna replace vinyl. They don't scratch and all this stuff. It was such a lie. They lied to people.
I just don't think they knew any better. You know, they didn't know.
Or maybe I guess
because they were figuring it's just so much easier to handle. You know, it's just like it's so much smaller. It fits right in your hand. Like you can just drop this in the tray and you just push the button and it's all done. You know, like with this, with this you actually have to worry about a needle being on it, and you know you can scratch the needle. You can the stylus can be pushed, and then all of a sudden you got to fucking scratch right through it.
And most people, like you said, it's like and that's the thing about finding like original copies and stuff. People just they played them. You know, they grabbed them. They didn't like hold them by the. It's like people were like just picking them up like this.
Yeah, they didn't really think about it back then.
No, they weren't.
Now like we consider a little bit better because we're like, oh shit, I paid top dollar for this fucking thing. I'm gonna make sure this thing lasts.
Yeah.
Because I don't want it to warp. I don't want it to scratch. You know, so you're more careful with it. But like, I wouldn't let my kids touch this stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
absolutely.
Like I want them to listen to records. I want them to be interested in music. But I'm like, don't touch the records.
I know, it's almost like you might have to wait a couple of years before they finally appreciate.
I'm starting them off slow. I'm starting them off on some CDs. Like I finally got them turned on to a little bit of punk music, you know.
Awesome.
Because for the longest time, I mean, they're like 10 and 8 now, and like all of these years up until like this year, basically, it was just like I don't like music. I don't like music.
But now they're at that age, which is where I don't know about you, but 8 years old. That's when I started getting into music. Yeah. I mean, that's when I started hearing like. You know, Kiss, I think was like my first obsession. I was like 8 years old. And it's like you start to want to listen or whatever.
Well, that's why I'm showing my son like the jackets and the sleeves and stuff. Like not of the records, but like the CDs I'll get sometimes. And this like he just found Descendants, Everything Sucks recently.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they love Everything Sucks because when they're mad at mom and dad, they're like, everything sucks. I love that song. And I'm like, good man, fucking listen to it. It's great. I like that you like it. Yeah. Please listen to it.
It's awesome.
You know, like when you're mad at me, go ahead and listen to some punk rock music. I don't mind that at all.
That's gonna feel good, you know, because you're like.
It does. I was just like, he fucking hates me and he listens to punk music.
But then, you're like, that's fine, buddy. I was doing the same thing. When I was pissed at my parents, I'm gonna go listen to punk rock.
I wasn't so lucky. When I was a kid, I had very little music to listen to, really. Basically my dad had some tapes that were like around the house, and he wasn't big into music.
Yeah.
He wasn't like the type that was like always playing something and like always going out and buy something. But what he had was like very, very influential. Like he had the Clash Combat Rock.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
And I remember a cassette of Supertramp's Breakfast in America.
Oh wow!
I remember some Led Zeppelin being in the house, you know. So I was just like, so I was hearing some of it. I remember some Aerosmith, but he was a classic rock guy. He actually really loved Pink Floyd and Roger Waters. So there was some of that in the house. So I was like, awesome, okay, you know. And then I had older brothers, So I think it was my oldest brother that really got me turned on to a lot of other stuff too, for better or for worse. Basically throughout high school, he was all Bob Dylan and Jimi Hendrix, and that was basically it.
Oh yeah.
So,
yeah. Just those two.
That was it. He was just like, we were like, well,
Like-
what about the Beatles? He was just like, fuck the Beatles. Bob Dylan's fucking God or whatever. Like, okay. And it's like I couldn't stand Bob Dylan when I was young. I couldn't stand that voice of his.
Okay. Yeah.
I love him now, but
Yeah.
like when I was a kid, I was just like, why do you fucking listen to that? I can't stand it.
It's funny how you can come around to certain things, you know what I mean? And not only do you come around, but you end up like loving certain things that you were initially like
very put off by.
It's amazing how I don't know where, it's like, I don't know, it's just funny to know when that switch flips.
Right.
When there's something that annoyed you for a while and then all of a sudden became like your favorite thing. It's like, it's amazing.
I don't know, it's just part of growing up, man. I can't explain it.
Yeah, no, it is.
Our
Yeah,
tastes
there you go.
change as we get older. You know?
Absolutely.
All right, so let's put on this record. This is John Lennon's Plastic Ono Band, first U.S. pressing on Apple Records, which I know you know this record, and it just sounds awesome.
I love this record. Like recording, like he's always been the one that was like wanting things to sound like. You talked about listening to old blues records and wanting the records to sound like old blues records and all that stuff. I mean, I know they did a lot of production, but like just the fact that he had thought about that aesthetic and was like wanting things to sound a little more raw and like, I was like, that's interesting coming from Paul, like. It's like,
For what record was that?
It may have been the early ones where they were trying to go for like a more raw production and they were like, we want to make it sound like an old blues record and stuff.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm thinking that it was in regards to one of their earlier records, but I think it was just like him talking about recording like styles and stuff like that, and sort of finding that sound, like which I always love. I love the old blues recordings, even though it's just the recording technology was the way it was. I think it's like it becomes part of the music.
I love that. Oh, it looks like a white apple. It's not really green.
Yeah. That's a really nice copy.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I was really excited when I found this. But
I mean, every song on this record is great. I mean,
it's a motherfucker. Let me tell you.
It is a motherfucker. I know.
Yeah.
It's like when you're feeling certain and that might be part of it too, is that people who tend to sort of like maybe drawn more to John, it's like he taps into those people that feel like emotions in a certain way too. Like I think if you're like, if you're someone who just like really feels things deeply and intensely, like he's gonna be your guy.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's what I said about Paul, is that like I never really liked Paul McCartney's music. Like I never considered myself a fan. I never really got into the records. I hear obviously the radio songs and stuff like that. And I always just think like he was hokey, like he was a goofy songwriter, and I didn't like that, because I just liked the whole doom and gloom aspect. I like to drink while I listen to music and fucking cry.
Yeah.
And so John can do that for me, and that felt good. But yeah, Paul's like But I've learned to respect that as in like, he's just having such a fucking good time making this music.
Yeah.
And you can hear it.
Yeah.
So I can respect that now in my elder age, as I'm getting older, that I'm just like, it's just a good fucking record because you can hear him just having a good time, and it's just like fun music.
And he always throws out a couple songs that are really cool every once in a while on records. Like then there's like these songs that are like, whoa, like that came out of nowhere. Even with the goofy songs, there's like, there's always like a couple songs that just sort of like do something a little different. Wow, that was good.
Right.
And I'm trying to think of like an example of one.
Well, he had that whole album too. Paul McCartney's too.
Oh.
Do you know that one?
I don't.
With Temporary Secretary. And, it's it's all home recorded.
Oh wow.
I had a pressing of it actually, and I think like in the liner notes it was just all like recorded at home, like all direct to to 8-track stereo.
Oh wow, okay.
And but it was very like synth sounding, you know. So like Temporary Secretary, if you're not familiar with it, like if you listen to it, you might not even know it's Paul McCartney.
Oh yeah, okay.
It's just really weird. Like it's just got this like almost like Kraftwerk type of like synth to it.
Oh
like,
yeah,
where it's
okay.
like very technical. You just feel like the matrix.
I must have
dropping
heard
all
some
around
stuff
you.
from that album. Yeah.
And he's just like, oh, temporary. You know, he's like all fucking really weird and whiny, and it's crazy. It's a good record. What's the hit song on that album? It's Coming Up.
Oh, okay.
That song's on there.
Oh, that's on there?
Kind
Okay.
of disco-y,
Yep.
like,
Coming Up.
yeah, it's the feel-good song, but that whole record is
oh, weird. Okay.
Kind of interesting. So
Yeah.
if you can listen to that
I'll
one.
have to go on Spotify or whatever and check it out.
Yeah, it's on there. I'm pretty sure I've listened to it. So let's get back into
Oh,
John. Let's get
yes.
a little gloomy here, huh?
Yeah.
Side 2 starts off with
Oh.
Remember.
That song it's great. I love the way this song starts. It's so good.
It's probably because it was a copyright issue, you know.
Yeah, right. Can't say the 5th of November. Yeah, exactly.
Because that was from what Guy Fawkes thing. Remember the 5th of November.
The 5th of November. Yeah.
Because he was the one that blew up Parliament.
That's right. Yes.
Right. And
exactly. Maybe they couldn't. You're right.
Yeah.
That's very likely, right? They couldn't write it down.
Probably.
That's actually a good point.
Oh, it's goddamn copyright bullshit.
I know. God damn it.
Maybe I should mention that, even now that we're talking about it. So, if anyone's watching this on the video, I'm going to edit the songs out. If you didn't notice already, that you're like, where the fuck are the songs? Because I don't want to get sued.
I almost feel like we were fringe. There's always going to be fringe people. And I like to believe that because I've seen like young kids like working out of school now, and I'm like, there's some of them that are into cool things, you know? So like, and I feel like when I was getting into certain stuff, it was the same thing. There's always going to be like, not everyone's going to be as curious about this stuff.
Right.
Like, as long as we know that there's always going to be generations of people that are going to have that curiosity to be like, I want to explore why all this music is cool and all that, and like, you know, be taking chances on stuff, then like, I don't know, that makes me happy.
Right.
This mainstream, some of this mainstream crap is like really just horrible, and it doesn't seem to really like have anything to it, but there are people that will see through it.
Yeah.
Or will, you know,
there's going to be the counterculture, regardless of the people that are like, you know, I'd rather go out and go see a band that's playing their instruments, and I can see that they're playing their instruments, and I know that they're writing their music, and they're producing their own music, and they're paying to make their own music, to record it in a studio and bring it out here to me so that I can buy that record, you know, and those are the people that, you know, musicians need.
Definitely.
That's why something like what you did with the Kickstarter program is such a awesome concept and such a like successful thing nowadays, is that you can actually leave it up to your fans whether or not a fucking project gets funded, and that's amazing.
Yeah.
You know? And it's just like, and you have that thing about you where you're a big enough fan and you know, kind of attentive enough in the artistry of making music that, you know, it wasn't enough for you to just, you know, make the record and try to let somebody put it out. You wanted this to be out, and you wanted it to be out on vinyl.
And yes, that's exactly it. Because like, obviously I could have not spent any money really, and just put it up on Bandcamp, just the digital download,
right?
And sure, that's great. I'm glad that the technology that I can do this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, I'm still a vinyl person, you know, and that's important. That's like always been important for me in every band. All the things we've done, it's always been like, it's not final, and it's not final till it's vinyl, you know.
Right.
And like it's, you know, who knows? I don't know if like new young people are gonna like have that same interest, like, oh, it's gonna be on a record. But I know like for our like generations and stuff, it's still to me really important that it comes out on a record.
Yeah.
You know, and like, so that was definitely that was like the impetus, definitely. Like, I mean, that was.
Right.
Yeah, I kind of sometimes look at this Kickstarter as just my love for vinyl. I was like, I have to have my music on record, so that's why I did it.
Yeah, yeah. So I mean, it's kind of for you. It's for yourself.
Yeah.
But it's because you love music and you can appreciate it and you can appreciate the sound quality of it alone, and knowing like it's got to be out on vinyl because that way, this is going to be for people that appreciate music too.
Yes.
You know.
Absolutely.
It's like because. Yeah, I mean, it could be on CD or something, and that's fine. I mean, being a musician, having CDs pressed of a record that I have recorded, I'd be just as happy holding it, just knowing that it's done, and knowing it can be out there, and that you can put this in someone's hand, or they can go out and buy it at the record store. But yeah, there's just something about that, and I'm happy that the record industry is kind of moving towards vinyl again to kind of create that revitalization of appreciation of music, because like I said about my son, like picking up, I mean it was a CD, but I was just like, look at the artwork, open it up and see that their names are on it, and see what those people did. Like it says that he played the guitar, he played the bass, and he sang the songs, and it has the lyrics of the songs, and it has like where they recorded it and how they recorded it, like the artwork. It's all part of the package.
Kind of puts it more like, in some ways it almost puts it in a time capsule, like, because when music is just wave files, MP3s and stuff, it's like it feels like it's just out there, just like in the air, and it's like you can't grab onto. But like having it stamped on something, either a CD or vinyl, whatever, a tape, whatever. There's something about just like, it's like you've sort of pulled it out of the air, and you're like, oh, this is it right here.
Right.
And like there's something about that it's just important.
Yeah.
Like having that stamp on it.
Yeah, and
physically a stamp on it.
I admit that I've lost that touch with music for a long time.
Yeah.
Until I got into this business, and then I remembered what it was like to be that kid, like when you first buy a record or a CD and you open it up for the first time and you're like looking at it and you're just like sitting there with it for a while. You're just like, oh man, look at this, okay, cool. I'm like, you're just looking at it back and forth, and you're reading through everything, and you're looking at the pictures. And with the digital stuff, you're not doing that anymore. Like if anything, you're like looking at the record on the screen, and it's like, oh, that's cool artwork, cool, and then that's it, and it's gone, and you're reminded it's gone. And that's it. Like you never know what studio they recorded in. You never know who produced it. You never know what the engineers were and stuff like that, because it's not important to everybody.
No, it's not. But I'm glad that there are audiophiles, people like that are still gonna like it.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that it still continues to be something that people want, is like a tangible item for music. That's, I mean, of course, there's live performance, people playing, but like. Aside from that, all you get is a record, because if it's not that, it's just a digital file.
Right.
There has to be something that you hold on to with music. I don't know why. It seems like there should be, even though it's an oral thing. Like,
well, I think it just puts you in touch with the people, like where they were at the moment and what they were feeling, and just give you some memory for yourself. Like, what was I doing on September 10th, 1970? Where was I when this was made? Like, oh, and like, so when these guys are doing this, I was over here doing this. Like, oh, okay, yeah, all right. It kind of puts it into perspective in your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, even if you weren't born, I wasn't born in 1970, but even if still, I felt it. Yeah, there you go.
Well, it's funny because it's 9/10. I wasn't born yet, but a couple weeks after this, I was born. So it's kind of cool to see that.
Yeah, man. So he was in the studio, like, no. Just before you came out.
Before I popped out.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it is, though. It's like, I don't know. It's like you probably love reading. I like reading histories of bands and all that stuff. It's like all that shit's like really interesting. So having all of these things, like the lyrics and all that stuff to look at, it's like it's so. I don't know. It's important. I'm glad it's still happening. I'm glad that there's still people listening to vinyl and stuff like that, because for a while people thought it was dead, and now it seems like CDs are the one that's gonna be dead.
Yeah, CDs are on their way out. Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, CD is just a container for a WAV file, so it's like,
Yeah.
if you don't need the container anymore,
Yeah.
it's sort of like, what's the point of I mean, I guess people could say that about a record too,
Yeah.
like, but
Well, like
a record's different.
when I was talking to Dan, it was just like that's the car jams.
Yeah.
Now when you now you want to take it with you. That's
Oh.
the way you take it.
I mean, look, I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say that if I were to like do a, like if I was actually like, usage, and like recording my usage of music, there's no doubt that most of it is me listening to digital files, streaming and stuff.
Right.
And then the vinyl, even though I still buy vinyl and stuff, I'm still not listening to my records as much as I should, considering that.
Well, because it's time consuming.
It's
You've got to
time-consuming.
dedicate your time to putting this on.
Yep. Definitely.
That's the difference.
Yep.
And in our crazy, busy, hectic life now, it's just like it's harder to be able to say like I'm going to take a half hour and sit down with this record.
Yeah.
And that's the problem, is because it's like you just put it on the iPod or you put it,
Like I said, car jams, or I know for me, I work in an office, so I like just listen to shit in my headphones just on the computer, and it's like, I don't have a record player in my office. Let's sit and listen to records. I should do that, but.
Well, everyone should dedicate a little bit of time, however you're going to listen to it, and actually listen to a full-length record.
Yes.
Not a fucking single, not like, on shuffle. Put the fucking record on from beginning to end at least once. This is doctor recommended. You do that once a month.
Yes.
Doesn't have to be the same record. Maybe put on a different record. Go to your fucking local library. Go borrow a fucking CD.
Oh, I used to do that. I haven't done that in a while, but I used to do it all the time.
Fucking forget the Spotify for a little bit, because this way at least you can bring it home, you can open it up, you can fucking look at the inlay, you can look at the track listing, the lyrics, and the information. The producer, the artist who played on it, if it was, aside from a band, like, you sometimes get studio musicians in there for certain acts that, they just need players for some instrumentation and stuff like that, and you would be surprised. You'd be surprised, like, what you find out. Oh, this guy played on that fucking record? I have Stephen Stills' fucking second solo record. I'm not a big Stephen Stills fan, but I have his record. Jimi Hendrix played on it.
Oh shit, really?
I was just like, Jimi Hendrix played on this fucking record? Never knew it until I picked up the record.
It's like Jimmy Page, played on the first Joe Cocker record.
Oh yeah.
Like the one that has With a Little Help from My Friends and stuff like that. He plays guitar on that.
Yeah, I had that one.
Yeah, or like, Betty Davis, Miles Davis. Neil Sean played guitar on that.
Neil Sean? I don't know Neil Sean.
From Journey, Neil Sean.
Oh,
the guitar player from Journey.
Yeah.
What a weird thing to find out that he played guitar on a Betty Davis record.
Yeah, weird.
I mean, but that's like one of those things where it's like you see it on the record, it says it. It's like, oh my god, why?
You might not necessarily hear it. But but fucking like looking through the document, you kind of see those things and you start to put it all together. It kind of puts things into a different perspective, and that's why we do this, I guess.
And it's like it's a way to slow down, because our world is like,
Spinning out of control.
So fast. So like it does, and totally, and it makes you have to sit. You have to be in your house listening to a record, and you have to be around it. So
yeah, I'm working on that patent. The portable record player.
Oh,
It's gonna be a big fat like Discman like this. You're gonna put the record in, and you're gonna close it, and the stylus is gonna
totally. I love it. Yes.
And I can walk around.
They have made things like this in the past. You find out that they there were portable record players people would carry around with them.
Yeah, but you put it down somewhere.
You would put it down, but I like where you're going with this. I think they even tried to attempt to make a record a record player in your car at one time too, which seems like hilarious. But I think they actually did attempt to do it. It probably was like a 45 thing, I'm sure, but
I guess.
But obviously that would be insane. But I like where you're going, and then you can have the records with you on the side, and then you just take one out and you stick one.
Right, you just put it in the sleeve, and then.
I fucking love it. I love this. Do it. patent that shit.
That's not real. Anyone's welcome to take that one. I'm not gonna come after you for it.
There.
Because it'd be cool to see.
I'm curious to know how they would do it. It would be, you'd have to keep that arm and needle stable.
Yeah, no, I don't know. I don't know if it's possible.
I
It
know.
takes some serious fucking like engineering to come up with something to do that.
Yeah.
That's why the CD just took off the way it did, because you could do that. You could put it in the Walkman.
That's
you could put it in the car.
Tapes and CDs and
Yeah.
now MP3. I mean, it's all convenience. I mean, that's
Yeah.
exactly it. It's, you can't really knock it because it's like, as long as people listen to music, like if they have a need to listen to music, luckily,
Yeah.
it's just, yeah.
So I wanna close this out, but before I do, and before we go, are you doing any shows for Chrome Jackson anytime soon?
Not right now. I wish I could say that I was doing something, but I do plan on doing stuff soon. I'm trying to get myself back out there. I feel like I've been, I played one show before I even recorded this stuff last year in like November. It was my last show.
Yeah.
But don't worry, I am planning to do stuff in the future.
Okay.
I just haven't, I don't have anything right now, but keep an ear out, an eye out.
Yeah, well, because you're still busy doing Doomsday Student anyway.
Right. Yeah. We've been on a break, but like so I do have a little bit more time. But yeah, when if like stuff like that happens, it makes it less likely. But like I'm hoping to do more shows.
Yeah.
With Chrome Jackson in the near future. So.
Well, either way, we're gonna put some links up to whatever you have. I'm sure you have links to where to get the record now.
Yep. It's on Bandcamp, and you can purchase the record on Bandcamp, and on my Chrome Jackson. If you just search for Chrome Jackson Bandcamp, you'll find it. And also, other than that, I have it in the local stores like Analog and Armageddon.
Okay. Cool.
Those both have the vinyl.
Yep. So if anyone's traveling through the great state of Rhode Island,
that's right.
On your way to New York or Boston, you can make a stop in Providence.
Please make a stop in those stores. They're awesome.
Yeah.
But if they don't, then they can get it on the site, and I will send it to them.
Order it, get shipped.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I do. I fucking ship all my records. It's easy
again,
enough.
DIY. It's just like it's just coming from me. So
Right.
I don't have any distro right now for this record, so I'm selling it myself.
Cool.
So it'd be nice. Maybe I'll get someone to pick up some. It'd be nice, but
Yeah.
it's it's always hard to see who's doing that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's not really that much of an issue right now because you already got it funded. You have.
Yeah. Oh,
it's
it's exactly. Like so. Yeah.
It's pressed.
Overhead is done.
You got this thing. It's tangible now. It's here. It's in your hand, and that's all that really matters. And
Exactly.
Whoever picks it up from this point on, it's just all gravy from there.
And I hope they do. So I hope they get to hear it. And
Yeah.
I appreciate you letting me play some of it tonight. So that would be
Absolutely.
getting more people out there. I know that I need to play some shows so people actually can be like, hey, that's the way you got to do it,
Right.
But
you've been such a road dog, dude, your whole life.
Yeah.
You've been like,
yeah.
I can't even imagine how many shows you've logged.
I should sit and try to like find out how many, if I can try to go back and look through stuff I have and.
Yeah, because
But
you started playing when? What year?
Like playing out
Yeah,
shows
playing
or like 94 was like when I first started playing with Eric.
Yeah.
And we started, well, before it was called Arab on Radio, it was called Umbrella.
Right.
And that was when we started with it was like 94. It was Eric and Jeff and Andrea. So, and then we really started hitting it like in like 95, and then from 95 on, I would say like pretty much like going maybe with like little breaks here and there, but yeah, I've definitely played a lot of shows in between 95 and 2018.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Right.
long time now. It's crazy.
So now as you guys are getting older, it's just like you take more breaks and longer breaks.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
there's I mean, there's family stuff. Like Eric's
Right.
got a kid, and
Yeah.
there's in life just jobs and all that stuff. Since we're not making money doing this stuff,
Right.
not
Yeah.
when we're not playing. I mean, when we play, I guess we can make some money, but
Right.
it's not like we get.
But even
big
that, I
line
mean,
checks coming in.
it's not like if you were to go on a massive world tour with Doomsday Student, let's just say,
Right.
and by massive, I don't mean like fucking what people are thinking, like what, they're fucking like playing stadiums, what?
Yeah.
No,
Right.
No, like I mean massive as in like your span and your reach. Like you're playing in
Mhm.
Europe, you're going through a European tour, you do like what? Would
Oh,
you go as
wait.
far? You do some? You've done Japan before or no?
No.
Never
In fact, that's actually one place that we never got to tap into.
But where else have you been in the world?
Been to Europe, been all through the United States, Canada, even some Mexico. That's it. Then
Yeah.
we haven't reached out further than that.
Nowhere like in Africa or like.
No, God, that would be incredible. Or
Yeah.
even South America, or
Yeah, South America will eat your shit up.
I mean, I know a lot of people I know have gone,
Yeah.
and
Because those guys are just fucking dying for music. Like,
yeah.
I was in Bolivia for a little while when I was 15.
Oh,
so
wow,
Back
yeah.
in '95. And those kids are just fucking dying for music.
Yeah.
Like, they're just dying to be able to go to a live show.
Yeah.
So, like, if you're an American band going through there, you could probably, like, if you can hook up with the right people,
Right.
they'll probably put you, like, in some big place, like, some big, like, venue.
Yeah.
I'd be hesitant to say, like, they have, like a theater, but something along those lines, like maybe like 1,000 capacity, and it could be sold out. Like I was in a band playing covers in Bolivia, which was weird
Oh wow.
because it was
Crazy.
hard to get it together because we were just kids. First of all, like we didn't know what to play. Like we didn't have any gear to play on. But I remember like we rented a nightclub for the night for a graduation of the school we were going to.
Oh my
It's
God.
an American school.
What?
And the place was sold out.
Really?
Sold out. Kids were going nuts, and we were playing covers.
Wow. Oh my God.
Yeah, and it was the craziest fucking thing because we had no idea. We were just like DIY, like printing up tickets and like hey, yeah, this is a few pesos, few bolivianos is what they were calling.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And it's dirt cheap, but it's like for us, we were like, holy shit, the thing sold out. Like,
That is incredible.
yeah.
Well, I've definitely heard that from bands that have gone down there. Like some of our friends, I always think of like Drop Dead. I think they went to South America and they're like rock stars, and they
Yeah.
go to those places.
That's
like that.
awesome.
Like, but yeah, I've heard that. Just haven't done it. Yeah.
Mhm.
But yeah, who knows?
Right. Yeah, so even if you make money like going out on tour, like when you do it, it's just like it's not necessarily as much when you break it up between the four members of the band. And
Oh,
you
yeah.
get like the tour manager, and then you got like a roadie guy, and you
Oh,
pay
yeah.
them. So like the actual take home at the end of the night is not necessarily that great.
No, and I mean, it was cool in that the last time we went to Europe, like we came back and we definitely like did more than break even, which was good. But it wasn't like a lot of money, but we were able to sustain ourselves on the tour. We didn't really spend much money, and then we came back with a little bit of money. So it was kind of like it was sort of like you were working.
Yeah.
Like
It's
your
sort of like
job.
working, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
Best job in the world, man.
I know. Absolutely.
When it works, it's
Yeah.
the best job in the world.
Oh, I know. Yes, when it is like going right, it's the best thing ever. Definitely, definitely. I think so too.
That's great.
For sure.
Well, I wish you the best of luck. I hope that some people buy this record. I hope that
Thank you.
you guys get back out on the road with Chrome Jackson and Doomsday Student, because I know it takes some time, takes some planning with you guys these days.
Right. Yeah. Yep.
But
for sure.
you got a bunch of records with Doomsday Student as well. You got
Mhm.
3 full length now.
Yep.
3 full length records.
Yeah. Yeah.
So and all those are out, and they're on a 3.1G.
Yeah. Yep. Yep.
And,
Exactly.
yeah. So people can find you there.
Yes. Yeah. Those
Like
records
this.
are readily. I mean, like our last 2 records. The first record's out of print, but the other 2 that we have, Walk in Astoria Park and Self Help Tragedy, those are still available on all of the
Vinyl,
sites
CD,
and also in distribution.
8-track tape.
Laser disc.
Laserdisc issues. ATAC copies. You know, you really stretched thin that budget. You
That's
know,
right.
got
Reel
it
to
all out
reel.
there.
Yep.
Those reel to reels. Those fucking.
That's right.
Oh, that's a big one. It is. That's for the diehards.
That's right.
All right, Steve. Hey, thanks, man.
Dude,
Thanks for coming.
thank you so much. Pleasure. Thank you.
Steve Mattos, everybody.
Goodbye, everyone.
2 hours, Steve.
Look at that. Right on the dot, or just
2:08.
over. Bam.